Well, this lecture is, although I'm recording it for ENA, but this lecture is also the next lecture to be watched for the course of differential equation. And the lecture 11.2 is for ENA for differential equation. Let us say it is the lecture 11.1. In this lecture, I am introducing a method, a mechanism that engineers use to solve all kind of circuits, and it is based on Laplace transform. For differential equations, this Laplace transform can also solve differential equations. So we are now interested in knowing about what a Laplace transform is. By definition, a Laplace transform of a function of time, this is a stylized L, is used to represent taking the Laplace transform of a function of time, which we write as capital F of S, and is defined as multiplying that function of time by an exponential with a complex parameter s, and then taking an integral with respect to time from minus infinity to plus infinity. This by definition is a two-sided Laplace transform, but because in circuit analysis or most physical systems, where when we get interested about a system, we say that time is t is equal to 0, and so we want to find responses for t greater than and equal to 0. Therefore, we employ using one-sided Laplace transform. Which by definition is, instead of integrating from minus infinity, we integrate from 0 to plus infinity. Why? Because the voltages or currents that we will be encountering are often 0 before t is equal to 0. So you should remember, I hope you remember that unit step function ut, which by definition is 0 before t is equal to 0 and has a jump or a step of size 1 here at t is equal to 0. That is why it is known as a unit step function, which is defined this way. And it is not defined at t is equal to 0 because there is a jump there. So if we have any function like sine of t, then we know that sine t is an eternal function. It continues, starts from minus infinity and goes on forever. But if this function gets multiplied by ut, we are going to get 0 here and then the sinusoid, and we write this as sine t ut. So if we have voltages and currents that we are going to encounter that are 0 before t is equal to 0, writing this as by parts from minus infinity to 0 and 0 to infinity, so that first integral will be 0 and we will be left with this one. So that is what we are going to use. Some books define this as 0 minus, just to say that whatever happens at t equal to 0 is also included in this integral. But remember that whether we write this as 0 minus or 0, for all practical purposes, it means it is 0. So if you have to put 0 minus somewhere, it's 0. We will come to that soon. Okay, so this is how Laplace transform is defined. So once we know the Laplace transform of f of t, that is f of s, then by an inverse process, this f of s gets transformed back to f of t, and by definition it is solving an integral from some alpha naught minus j infinity to some alpha naught plus j infinity. F of s here gets multiplied by e raised power st. Here we have e raised power minus st. Here we have e raised power plus st. F of s multiplied by this with respect to ds. Here with respect to dt. Here we have with respect to ds. This is a very complicated integral, and lucky for us, we never will solve this. So how would this inverse transform work? We are going to use tables. We will construct tables where we are going to know that this function, this such function has this transform, this function has this transform, this function has this transform, coming back from the Laplace transform back to the time domain function. We are going to do that by inspecting tables and using already found out results. These tables, remember, will be given in the exam. You don't need to memorize them. All you should be able to is to use them. So this is the Laplace transform, and that's it. Ideally, you should now be able to spend time in understanding how to find various functional transforms. That is how Laplace transform is computed for various functions. And then you can also work on finding various operational transforms. That is what happens if an operation is taken on the original function. Then what is how would that be in the frequency domain? Let us call this S domain as the frequency domain, or frequency space, or sometimes also called as S domain or S space, and this as the time domain or the T domain or the T space. So let's begin with finding the functional transform for some of the functions that we know. So for example, ut itself. So what will be the, one important thing? We write these f of t and f of s as a transform pair. So we use this notation. This triangle, by the way, means that by definition, this is how it is defined. These are by definitions. So f of t, and with the double-sided arrow, whenever you encounter something like this, it means this represents our transform pair. What does that mean? On the left hand side, we have the time domain function. On the right hand side we have the frequency domain function. So let us see that the Laplace transform of ut is 1 over s. How? All we are going to do is solve this calculus by solving this integral. So if u of t is to be transformed, then by definition we are going to solve this integral e raised power minus st and ut dt. But for this interval of time 0 to infinity, ut is 1. So what do we get here? E raised power minus st into 1. And we can solve this integral e raised power minus st over minus s, and limits from 0 to infinity is minus 1 over s e raised power minus infinity minus e raised power 0. So what do we get? This is 0. E raised power minus infinity is 1 over e raised power plus infinity. E raised power plus infinity is infinity. 1 over infinity is 0. 0 minus 1. So we get 1 over s. So this is proven. Similarly, you can take up the same approach and procedure and find the transform pairs for several functions. Let me do this for one or two another functions. So suppose the function f of t is e raised to the, so an exponential function, e raised to the power minus at, where we are assuming a is positive. So by definition, the f of s for this function is going to be the integral from 0 to infinity e raised power minus st multiplied by the function e raised power minus at dt, which is 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus s plus a t dt, which is e raised power minus s plus a t over minus s plus a, limits 0 to infinity, which we know is going to be solved to 1 over s plus a. Thus e raised to the power, just like this is a functional transform of ut, the transform pair, we have another pair e raised power minus at has a Laplace transform of 1 over s plus a. This way we are going to have a table with a lot of entries, functions of time here, and the equivalent Laplace transform on this side, and a table, and it will be given to you in the exam or in the quizzes whenever it is needed. So you don't need to cram that. Similarly, we can prove that the Laplace transform for t, I think, is 1 over s square, and the Laplace transform for t e raised to the power minus at is 1 over s plus a square. I think, I hope I am correct, because I have not crammed that as well, and you should try to solve at least these two. And similarly, we are also interested in finding the operational transforms. So for example, once we know that the Laplace transform of f of t is f of s, what happens if we multiply f of t by a constant? How would the transform be affected? So if Laplace transform is a linear operator, we are going to get this multiplied by kf of s as well, and we can prove this. So if the Laplace transform of f of t defined in this way, then how would the Laplace transform for k f of t defined? So we can see that multiplying f of t with k can come out of the integral, and then what we would be left with is this thing. And what is this thing? By definition, this is f of s. So basically this means that, let me not write this here because we have to be mathematically correct. So we are trying to find the Laplace transform of k f of t, and we have found that to be equal to k into f of s. So this is proof. So this is, for example, the first thing in the operational transform table, that if a constant multiplies the time function, the same constant is going to multiply its Laplace transform. Similarly, number 2, what is going to happen, say if a constant multiplies some function of time and another constant multiplies another function of time, and they are added together. So how would their transform look like? So you can well imagine that if we apply a Laplace transform of this side, then we are going to get, and you can easily prove that, C1 F1 of S plus C2 F2 of S. So it's linear, and this is why we can use that in analyzing linear circuits. Similarly, there are other things that are of our interest here, and one of them is what happens if the function f of t is taken derivative of. What happens to its transform? Let us try to find this. So by definition, the Laplace transform of the derivative of a function would be solving this integral 0 to infinity e raised power minus st and f dash of t. I'm changing this notation for the derivative for ease sake. And we can use the uv formula here. The integral of uv, I think, if the formula I remember right, is integral of uv is basically equal to one of the functions as is, and integral of v minus integral of this v and the derivative of u. So using this we can write e raised to the power minus st and integral of I think should we initially have this, then integral of this thing. Let's try this. E raised power minus st and integral of this thing, which will be the function itself, minus integral and limits from 0 to infinity and limits from 0 to infinity of this thing f of t and the derivative of this thing. So derivative of e raised power minus st is e raised power minus st, and then this minus s, because the derivative is with respect to t. So minus s comes out and it goes out here, plus s and a dt here. So if we apply these limits here, then e raised to the power minus infinity is going to be 0. It will zero out everything. And when we put 0 here, e raised to the power 0 is 1. and f of 0 is what we are left with. So the original function in time at t is equal to 0 plus s, and whatever this here, this is in this integral, inside the integral, including the integral, is by definition what f of s is. So we get this thing. So what is this pair now? We have found that the Laplace transform of the derivative of a function is s times the Laplace transform of the original function plus, I believe I have ignored that negative sign here. So when we put this limit, this becomes 0, minus we put the 0. So we have a minus here. So minus f of f at 0. So when we are taking 0 minus here, this will become 0 minus. For all practical purposes, it is what happens at t is equal to 0. But sometimes we have to be careful. Sometimes f of 0 minus is equal to f of 0 plus. So there it does not matter whether we write f of 0 or f of 0 minus. Like for example, the current through an inductor. If this f is the current through an inductor, so at 0 minus is the same as at 0 plus, because inductor resists sudden changes in current and a voltage across a capacitor. But if that is not the case, suppose we are, instead of the current through an inductor, we are dealing with the voltage across an inductor, and these can be different. So then the notation becomes very important, that what we are really interested in is the value of the function at 0 minus, not 0 plus. So this is a functional transform. Try to do this yourself. Try to find this functional transform, that if the function is integrated with respect to time, how is its Laplace transform going to affect? And I am writing the result for you, but you should be able to do it. So this is that operational transform pair. Here we do not have an initial condition. And by the way, I want to make another comment here, that in taking the Laplace transform of the derivative, we are also including the initial conditions that this function has, and therefore the students in the course differential equation can see that Laplace transform is also going to cover the initial conditions as well. So it's a very, very, very powerful technique. And also, although you are going to do this yourself, but you should also try doing this. So what happens if I take the second derivative of the same function and try to find this? Okay, let me do this for you because it's very easy. And as you know, teachers are very comfortable doing things which are easy. Is s square f of s minus s into f of 0 or 0 minus f dash at 0 minus. So prove this. How to prove this? It's very easy, because the second derivative of a function of time can be written as the first derivative of f of t. So we can use this result now in finding this. So how would this be? Let me try to use this space in finding this. So we know that f dash t has a transform s f of s minus the initial value of the function, then the let us say this f dash t is another function g of t. G of t is a function of time, right, which is the derivative of f of t for g of t. So what is going to be the transform of the derivative of g of t, which in fact will become the second derivative of f of t? So the transform of a function g of t, the derivative of a function g of t is going to be s g of s minus g at 0. Now what is g of s? So g of s is this whole thing. So what do we get here? S f of s minus f of 0 minus, what is g of 0? Is the derivative of f at 0. And what do we get here? S square f of s minus s f of 0 minus f dash of 0. And by the way, this also helps us write. So if we take the nth derivative of f of t, what do you think would be the Laplace transform this? So this notation f nth derivative of t, we should better write it like this. Then we are going to get, so when we have the second derivative, we have s square here. So we are going to have Sn f of s minus 1 less exponent here, and the function's value at 0 minus 1 less in the exponent, and the function's first derivative value at 0 minus Sn minus 3, and the function second derivative at 0, and minus so on till at the end we get the function's value of the n minus first derivative at 0. So you can also see that by finding the two operational transform pairs, we can extrapolate the result to any order of the derivative. And these two results are very important for those who are taking the differential equation course, and for the ENA students as well, to know that it is the application of this operational transform that is going to convert a differential equation into an algebraic equation. So in the next lecture, which is also mandatory for both ENA students as well as, and is actually for the differential equation students, try to see how Laplace transform is a very good technique in solving the differential equations.